Here we have a truly strange story about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the story is like this. Some of the Hasidim saw the Rebbe started to be Rebbe like in 1950, 1951. So it doesn't have an exact date over here, but let's say 10 years later, the Hasidim noticed that the Rebbe's shoes were in terrible shape. And that they noticed that, first of all, he walked on the back of the shoes were all folded over, so his foot never went into the shoe, and the soles of the shoes were all worn down. So some of the Hasidim got the bright idea that maybe they should change the Rebbe shoes, buy the Rebbe new shoes, because the Rebbe was just so busy, he didn't care about himself. So they bought a pair of new shoes, and they gave it to the Rebbe's wife, that she should try to convince him. And the Rebbe's wife said that she spoke to him about it, and that he never replied. So she put the shoes in the Rebbe's closet or some obvious place, and the Rebbe did not put the shoes on. So someone got the bright idea, because once in a while they would polish the Rebbe's shoes. They would polish the Rebbe's shoes. So once they got an idea that the Rebbe, like once a month, he would go to the Ohel. The Ohel was the burial place of his father-in-law. And when he would go there, he would wear house shoes, slippers. Because when you go into a place like that, you're not supposed to wear leather shoes. In a cemetery, you're not supposed to wear leather shoes. Take off especially you go to a tzaddik. That's the custom. So it's all according to Kabbalah, whatever. Anyway, so the Rebbe would leave his shoes. So someone got the bright idea, listen, we'll take the Rebbe's shoes and we'll just change the soles of the shoes. We'll change the sole, we'll put new soles, the bottoms of the shoes. Huh? What's wrong with that? So they agreed that it was a good idea. And one of the Rebbe's secretaries, who was called Rabbi Label Groner of blessed memory, in some ways he was the closest of the Rebbe's secretaries as far as time goes. He was always there. He was always there on call. And so he saw what they were doing, and they asked what are they doing, and they said, we're going to change it. The Rebbe said, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't change the soles of the shoes. Don't change the soles of the shoes. Put them back where they are. And he said, and I'll tell you a story, or they reminded themselves of a story. Baal Shem Tov, so there's a story within a story. You're going to hear another story in a minute. The story is that once some of the Hasidim were traveling, and they came into an inn, and they saw the owner of the inn that his father was working for him. His father was an old man, and the owner of the inn was yelling orders at his father. What are you doing that? I told you to get this done. Do this. Come on. Don't be lazy. So they went over to him, the owner, and the owner was like a young guy, maybe 35, and his father was maybe 80. So they said to him, excuse me, I see you're a religious Jew. How can you talk to your father like that? Ordering him around like that. It's not nice, So, oh, that's not my father. That's my son. I said, what? Your son? What are you talking about? He said, oh. I said, I'll explain it to you. He said, I, a long time ago, used to work. I worked cleaning up the house of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov was asleep, and I was in his room. That was my job. And I cleaned up, and I saw that his shoes were at the foot of the bed. And I thought, should I move the shoes and sweep under it? Suddenly this idea came to me, maybe I should leave it there. And then I thought, one second, it's my job to clean up the whole room. Should I move it? And I said, no. If the shoes are there, I'm not gonna touch them. So I didn't. I went to the door, and the Baal Shem Tov woke up, and he said, did you touch my shoes? And I said, no, I didn't touch the shoes. I was worried. Baal Shem Tov said, you didn't touch my shoes? So I give you a blessing. You should have long life. So I said to the Baal Shem Tov, a little bit of chutzpah, I said, well, it should be a healthy life, that I should always be young and healthy. The Baal Shem Tov gave me the blessing. He says that blessing was 70 years ago. And now, since then, I didn't get any older. I just young and fresh. He says, my father now, he's 70 years old. Right? He's 70 years old. He's 35 years older than me. And I'm, right? and I still look like I'm 35. I look like I'm the same age. Okay. So he said, and then one of them remembered a story, that they remembered a story that maybe it's anyway, they remember the story that the communists, when the communists took over Russia, so they took over, there was a bloodbath. There was a bloodbath, and the communists, they were the more powerful. And they had hundreds of thousands of soldiers or whatever on their side, and they were running through the streets and just killing anybody who wasn't a communist or anybody they thought was against them, taking the rich people and throwing them out of their houses and killing them. And this was in 1920 when they were really just taking power. I guess the Russian Revolution had ended in 1917, but there was still wars going on until afterwards. Anyway, the Rebbe Rashab, he passed away in 1920. He was standing in the window of his house or wherever it was, and he was looking out. I guess there was this in Rostov, in the city of Rostov. And he was looking out of the window, and his son, the Rebbe Rayatz, was going to take over. So he looked and he said, is there going to be an end to this? Is it going to look at how much power they have? Look how cruel they are. And the Rebbe Rashab said, a young man with torn shoes is going to end their power. A young man with torn shoes is going to end their power. That's what he said. In 1989, right, let's go fast. That was when the communism began to fall. It fell totally in 1991, but it began to fall 1989. I think that's when the Berlin Wall fell. Anyways, that's when it began to fall. The Rebbe changed the shoes. That's when the Rebbe of Lubavitch, he was the young man with torn shoes, that he was the one who destroyed communism. Can you believe it? True story. Have a good day with Mashiach now.